Hello, CFA Nation, Gabe, and I'm here today to bring you my final IPL overview. That's right, CSK, the Chennai Super Kings. All right, guys, you know what? Let's get the elephant out of the room right now. I was blamed. I was blamed for CSK's misfortunes. Let's get it straight, all right? I'm fortunate though that the year I start rooting for CSK, one of the most storied franchises, had not missed a playoff game. They end up 7 of 8, almost dead last. You can't make it up. You absolutely can't make it up. And last year was a house of horrors. I mean, from Sharish Reyna not playing, right? Reyna did not play, opted out. To basically Dhoni not playing well. Let's just be real. Dhoni scored 200 runs, and I believe he played 12 of 13 games, or 12 of 14 games, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he did not play well. That's not what Dhoni does. That's an average of 25 is what he averaged. Just to put things into perspective, and I get it. Dhoni bats later on in the game, but at the same time, Gaikwad, who I absolutely love, all right, played in 6 games and averaged 51 runs with, I think he had 350s in that span, and scored a total of 204. So that just kind of tells you guys that Dhoni was not at his best this last year. And part of the knock on CSK was that they were old, right? They were an old team. They didn't really change a lot or whatnot. Unfortunately, we have some of those same old players this year, but at the same time, we did bring in some new blood, and I think that they're building a new team with the likes of Gaikwad and Uthappa, who we'll talk about later, who they actually traded for. But, guys, once again, CSK 2021 IPL overview. Let's get started right now, and we're going to start with Stephen Fleming, of course, former New Zealand cricketer, and it was a tough season for him, right? Not being able to he had been able to rely all season or rely all this time on the likes of both Dhoni and Reyna, and you have a Dhoni who's not playing like Dhoni. I mean, of course, maybe for older players, the bubble and the lack of play just got to them. Okay, this was COVID year, so of course things were a little bit different for these players, and no Reyna, that absolutely hurt. And you got to just stop and think to yourself, okay, how big of an impact was that? All right, because one or two bats can absolutely change the fortunes of a team. So that's what we're going to talk about right there. And I think that this year, now he knows he can count on the newfound Gaikwad, even though he's, there's some talk about him not starting possibly because he struggled a little bit in domestic play, but we'll get to that when we talk to him about him later. I think he's still going to be a part of the playing 11 because they want him to be a part of a future of this team, right? The players are getting older. And again, that has been a knock on this team for a very, very long time. So let's go ahead and start with the squad right away. I'm just going to read you the players off the team, let you guys know my thoughts really quickly on them, and then I'll talk about CSK, towards the end, a little bit of a prediction of what they're going to do, what they need to do to be successful. But we're going to start off with the batsmen. And right off the top, we got Faf du Plessis. Now, Faf was one of the players who actually batted well for CSK last year. Without Faf, my gosh, who knows where they would be. He played really well defensively. And Faf, if I'm not mistaken, was the 11th overall scoring player in the IPL last year with 449 runs. 449 runs. That's nothing to sneeze at. And 13 games he did that as well. So, that's an average of about, 40? Yep, an average of 40. So good on you, kid. Good on you. Next up, we have Ambati Raidu. Now, Ambati Raidu started off the season and people thought that he was going to take Suresh Raina's spot in the lineup, but then he got injured. He never just was able to get right last season. We're hoping for big things for Raidu. Last year he was in 12 matches, had that one match he got hurt, only played 11. So again, it was hard for him to really get off to a good start there. to a good start there. Amity Raidu was one of the higher scoring guys, though, for CSK last year with 359 runs. Now, you just heard that. He was the second leading scorer for CSK with 359 in 11 games. That tells you part of what I'm going to talk about later. CSK's woes last year came down to scoring. It was super rough. It was super rough for them, okay? Next up, we got Suresh Raina. Suresh Raina, you guys know this guy's been around for a very long time. Coming back this year, Raina and Dhoni are synonymous with CSK. Those are the two pillars, right, that the house of CSK was built on. So now that he's back, hopefully, he'll be able to, spark that partnership with Dhoni and lead this team to success. However, what we saw a lot from COVID players last year, guys, was players struggled, right? Players that, weren't used to the lockdown, had taken a whole bunch of time off. Raina hasn't played in 2 years, basically? A year and a half? I mean, he took off more COVID time than anybody else. So I wonder how long it's going to take him to get back in the swing of things. Hopefully he doesn't miss a beat, but a lot of players are creatures of habit, and it may take him a while to get back into the swing of things. Next up, Pujara. Now, Pujara was a purchase at the auction this year, and a lot of people said he may not even play. Recently, Dhoni gave him his jersey. It was a big deal about it. You know what? They got him, and people say it was more of a ceremonial thing. They may play him. Who knows? They may play Pujara. They may find need to play him. You never know. We've got players opting out, players getting injured. So that's a name to keep in the back of your mind, Pujara. Next up, we've got a newcomer, CH Nasamp. Okay, 2021 purchase. They got him for 20 lakhs at the auction. I'm not really sure where he's going to get in. He's a left-handed batsman, but who knows? You never know. Depth is a good thing, especially because of the bubble. You never know how many players are going to, either be quarantined because of COVID or just opt out, which we'll talk about later. So it's good that they have some depth, left-handed batsman there. And finally, the star from last year that was, found towards the end, the rookie, okay, Gaikwad. Gaikwad is 24 years old, and like I said, Gaikwad in 6 games scored 204 runs for CSK. 6 games, 204 runs for CSK. Here's the thing. He was the 5th leading scorer for CSK behind the likes of Faf, Amity Raidu, Shane Watson, who played 11 games and scored 299, and Ravi Jadeja, who played 11 games and scored 232. Gaikwad scored 204 in 6 games, guys. I mean, he's got to play. He's got to play. And I'm hoping that the struggles he had in the domestic will not impact him here, because there is some rumbling, some talk that he won't be in the playing 11. But I am sure he's going to play. I'm hoping he's going to play. We'll see what happens. But that's my man, okay, Gaikwad. Next up, we have our all-rounders, and we're going to start with the champion, Mr. Dwayne Bravo. Now, unfortunately, Dwayne Bravo also struggled last year with injury. Okay, he was a champion in the CPL, right, winning the title, but not, unfortunately, in the IPL. He's 37 years old. He was injured last year. And, man, it was one of those seasons, something else that went wrong for CSK. Dwayne Bravo missed a lot of games due to injury. It's one of those situations where is it maybe that age catching up to them? All right. He played 6 games, guys, 6 games. And in 6 games, he had 6 wickets. So about a wicket per game. His economy rate wasn't too bad either. But again, 6 games, 6 wickets, that's just not going to fly. And hopefully the champion has healed. Next up, we got another all-rounder, Moeen Ali, purchased this year, 2021. CSK broke the bank for this guy. Almost $1 million, 7 crores. That's equivalent of 980,000 US American dollars. Left-handed batsman, right-handed spinner, and Moeen Ali, we've seen him play and actually I think the audition, he had that one audition against, I want to say it was against India, where he absolutely raked, and that was like, all right, that got him paid. That there alone got him paid. he can bowl, he can get wickets. He got a fifer out there in India. So in those spinning tracks, he's going to be successful. And as an all-rounder, I think he's going to be a part of the play in the 11 all the time. In the draft, you saw that CSK really went after Glenn Maxwell, but when the price got too high, then they settled, I would say, for Moeen Ali. But Moeen Ali, in my opinion, could be the secret for CSK this year. There's been talk about him being part of the opening partnership because of CSK's lack of scoring in the power play, and we'll talk about that later as well. But if he opens up with the likes of either Uthappa or Gaikwad, look out. Next up, we have another all-rounder, Krishnap Gautam. Krishnap Gautam was purchased this year as well for 9.25 crores, 1.3 million American dollars. He's a right-handed batsman. He is a right-handed spinner as well. And you can see that CSK really went heavy on all-rounders and spinners. They were, like I said, they went after Glenn Maxwell but didn't get him. And that was assuming they were going to play at home, right? They built their team to play at home, which we'll talk about later. And unfortunately, that just did not work out. We're not playing at home. So we'll see what happens, guys. We will see what happens with that situation. But I think Gautam may be a part of the playing 11, especially since he's an Indian spinner and all-rounder. You want to get him in there on some of those spinning tracks, and it'll also give you the ability to play some of those international players like Imran Tahir later on those spinning tracks. Next up, we've got Ravi Jadeja, Sir Jadeja, okay, swinging Excalibur, baby. Now, Jadeja, he was CSK's, I want to say he was their third leading scorer. Let me check that up. He was either their third or fourth, right? He was their second. He was their fourth leading scorer. In 11 games, Jadeja scored 232 runs, guys, 232 runs. Ravi Jadeja swinging Excalibur. You guys already know the deal. The guy's an unbelievable fielder. He's definitely a part of the playing 11 as well. And as a spinner, he's not really, he can get himself some wickets. So I think he's going to be a big part. He's also a left-handed spinner. So when you got the right-handed spinners like Moeen Ali and Krishnap Gautam, and then you got the left-handed spinner like Jadeja, you give them two different angles it's coming from. It should be effective. Next up, we got Mitchell Satner, all right, the Kiwi. He's a left-handed spinner. Satner really didn't get much of a chance last year, guys. He really didn't get much of a chance. I'll be honest, because of the nature of the international, I'm not sure, because they're not playing on that many spinning tracks, how many games he'll get in there, if he gets any in there. We'll see. It may be more of the same from last year. Next up, Sam Curran. Sam Curran, all-rounder, Englishman. Sam Curran was CSK's best player, bottom line. Guys, Sam Curran in 13 games got 13 wickets. He was CSK's leading wicket taker, 13 wickets. He also scored another 186 runs in 11 games as a batsman for CSK. He almost, I should say, they had the experiment where they put him in the opening. They moved him around the lineup a lot. But, Sam Curran was absolutely amazing for CSK. I believe he's going to be a part of the playing 11. Dhoni had glowing things to say about him. Dhoni loves him, and, of course, is the captain of the team. So I believe he will be a part of the playing 11. That is Sam Curran, English batsman. Next up, we got B.H. Varma. B.H. Varma, guys, is a right-handed batsman, right-handed spinner. Again, he was just purchased for 20 lakh this year in 2021. I'm not sure he's going to make his way into the playing 11, but it's always good to have depth, and he's an Indian all-rounder. Next up, we're going to go with the wicket keepers. And, of course, we got our captain, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that his name rings out in all the corridors of cricket, MS Dhoni. Like I said, guys, if you're a Dhoni fan, as am I, bottom line is you got to admit, it was a bad season. 200 runs, guys. That's what he scored. He's got to do better. And I get it. He bats towards the end and likes to chase, but it just wasn't enough. So hopefully Dhoni can get back to form this year. again, I think that long layoff and the bubble really took a toll on people. So hopefully he's better prepared for this season and knows what it's like to play through the bubble, right? Through the quarantine bubble. All right, that's MS Dhoni. I think he can lead his team to I hope it's going to be a playoff appearance, but for sure a much better season than last year. Next up, Robin Uthappa. Now, CSK traded for Robin Uthappa from the Royals. Last year, he played 12 games, scored 196 runs. So really, right about what Dhoni did, 200. Not great, but they got a lot of faith in this guy. Again, maybe they're grooming him as the backup or the heir apparent to Dhoni when Dhoni eventually retires, right? He is a wicket keeper. You know, what I will say about Uthappa is there's been talk about him opening up for CSK along with either Gaikwad or along with Moeen Ali. I personally think Moeen Ali and Gaikwad would be a much better combination because Moeen Ali can score quickly, and that was part of CSK's issue last year. But you guys will let me know in the comments how you feel about Robin Uthappa. Next up, and our final wicket keeper, we've got Narayan Jagadijan. 25-year-old, right-handed batsman. And you know what? Jagadijan barely got in there last year, to be honest with you guys. You guys heard all the games that Dhoni played. So it's hard to say one way or another how impactful he was in the game. But I don't see him being a regular. I definitely just don't see him being a regular for CSK. All right, next up, we got our scalp takers. That's right, the bowlers. And we're going to start with the spinners. We've got the legend, Imran Tahir. Now, Tahir, 42 years old, the veteran on this team, all right, the senior on this team, right-handed spinner. He didn't really get a chance last year, guys. Tahir didn't get a chance. Bottom line, it was one of those seasons that was crazy because CSK planned to play home. As a spinner, Tahir would have feasted there, but it was in the UAE. So this year, you figured, okay, Tahir's going to do his thing. Not so fast. You know, I think 5 of the first 6 games for CSK are all in Mumbai. You know what I'm saying? So this, it's not as spin-friendly a track. And Tahir, I'm not sure how many games he's actually gonna get in. I'm sure that when it's a spinning track, Tahir needs to get in. But definitely, I think that it's one of those situations where he's going to struggle. He was in 3 games last year, and in 3 games, he got himself 1 wicket. Okay, that's just, guys, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, and that's one of the situations where we need to definitely improve. It's not like he's an all-rounder who contributes with the bat as well. So we'll see what happens, and I think that they did CSK a disservice this year. I get it because of COVID. They went in the bubble, and now they're playing this in those 3 different venues or whatnot. But you got to prepare CSK for this at the draft and let them know that's what's going to happen so that they could have got some pace bowlers, guys that went cheap, like Malign, who went to the Mumbai Indians. You know what I'm saying? After they got NCN back super cheap. You know what I mean, guys? So to me, I think that the CSK was done a disservice by the league not making them aware that that's what was going to happen. The league had to be prepared, and that's, it is what it is at this point. You're crying over spilled milk, but there definitely needs to be, some better communication between the teams and the leagues. Next up, we got Karam Sharma, left-handed spinner. Not sure how much he's going to get in the side. He may get in the side, though, because of the fact that, again, he's an Indian spinner, and Tahir's their main quote-unquote spinner, right, outside of the other guys we talked about that are all-rounders. But Tahir is South African, and the problem with that is you can only play 4 overseas players. And again, Moeen Ali's probably going to be in there. Sam Curran's probably going to be in there. I'll give you my playing 11 shortly, guys. And Faf du Plessis is going to be in there. So you only got really one room for one more player. Next up, we got Sai Kishore. Guys. Sai Kishore, left-handed spinner. They're the 3 spinners they got. Young guy, 24 years old. Not sure if he's going to get a lot of playing time. be a part of the playing 11, but we'll find out. Next up, we got our pace bowlers. And we got Shardul Thakur. All right, he was pretty decent for CSK last year. Sometimes he tends to leak runs, but this year he's been much improved. I like what I've seen out of the core, especially with the India international team. So let's hope that he can bring some of that magic. In 9 games, he got himself 10 wickets, so more than a wicket per game. And his economy rate wasn't too bad at 850. You got to try to keep it under 10, guys. You got to try to keep it under 10. Next up, as we have Deepak Chahar. Deepak Chahar also had a little issue with economy rate. I believe his was slightly over 7, but he was one of CSK's more reliable bowlers last year. In 14 games, he got 12 wickets, economy rate of 761. So close, like I was close, under 8. And those guys are going to be needed. Those 2 paces are going to be needed, and we'll talk about why in a minute. Next up, we got KM Asif. He didn't get, I don't think he got in any games, if I'm not mistaken, last year. But, CSK is going to be desperate, guys, to get some pace bowlers, because our next guy, Loingen Giri, is going to miss like the first few games of the tournament. I think they said 3 or 4 games, because he's got some commitments with South Africa. So we got Loingen Giri, you know what I'm saying? And it's just brutal. All right. There are other pacer that they were looking to lean on, and we'll talk about that later. And Josh Hazelwood opted out. So really, a CSK is going to depend on those Indian pace bowlers to get them through the first part of the season, at least until Loingen Giri can get back in after meeting his commitments to South Africa. And finally, we've got H. Reddy, 22-year-old right-handed pace bowler. And again, guys, bottom line is, anybody who has pace on this team as an Indian bowler has a chance, because there's a lack of them with the departure of Josh Hazelwood, and of course Loingen Giri not being available for the first 4 or 5 games, I believe, for CSK. But that's the side, guys. CSK, in my opinion, guys, have this year's starting off just like last year. People opting out. Okay, Reina last year, big name. This year, Josh Hazelwood, big name. They were really counting on him. Opting out because of COVID. I get it, but it's the same thing, right? Of course, the venue being changed on them, so all these spinners they've accumulated aren't going to help. Loingen Giri not being available the first part of the tournament because of commitments at home. It's starting bad. As a CSK fan, it's starting bad. But I have faith in Dhoni. I have faith in Gaikwad. Faf is a great player. I think offensively, honestly, they're going to be good. Last year, offense was their problem, and they kind of focused that this year. That's what they really want to put attention. Just to give you an idea, their leading scorer, and I already told you guys this, I mentioned it before, was Faf, right? He scored at 11. After that, they didn't have another guy until, I want to say it was the top 20. Let's double check. Faf, 449 runs. And then after that, Ambatu Raidu, at 359. So they only had 2 guys in the top 20. The next guy after that would be Shane Watson, who's no longer there, at 27. So scoring runs was a problem. CSK, just to give you an idea, really struggled in the power play, only scoring at a clip of 7.13 and over, right? That's not going to do it. That's not going to get it done. And that was their average. And in the middle overs, they also struggled with 7.37, which is why I think a guy like Moeen Ali that scores quickly with high strike rates would help, and could help CSK in that opening partnership. All right, guys. Now, I'm going to give you my playing 11. This is just my opinion, what they should do. But of course, I've been wrong before, and we'll see what happens. Despite the talk of Gaikwad not being in the opening, I would think a guy that scored 200 runs in 6 games have bought himself a little bit of leeway, so they could put Gaikwad in the opening partnership along with Moeen Ali. Then you should be looking at Faf du Plessis at 3, Reina at 4, or you could flip-flop it. Ambati Raidu Ravi Jadeja, Dhoni, Dhoni likes to bat late, guys. Dhoni loves to bat late. That was part of the reason why he didn't score as many runs. But Dhoni at 7, then Sam Curran, pace bowler. There he was their best player. You just cannot leave him out of this side. You can't do it. You can't do it. All right. After that, the core pace. Deepak Chahar, pace bowler. And then you got a problem again. Nolan Gidi won't be there. And like I said, the first few games are at in Mumbai, and apparently it's not really place friendly. So I'm not sure if the here will even get in the side the first few games. Maybe they'll go with another pace bowler there. Like I said, maybe they can go with, I don't know, KM Asif. I really don't know. But normally, under normal circumstances, you would have Ngidi there. The problem, again, like I mentioned, is if it's a spin-friendly track, it'll be Tahir. If it's a pace-friendly track, it'll be Ngidi. But that's my playing 11, guys. I'll be honest. It was a frustrating season last year with CSK. I'm hoping for much better things this year. I really think that offensively, they have fixed some of those woes by addressing it, by going out and getting a guy like Moeen Ali who could absolutely crush, and I think he's going to be a big part of this team. I think as an all-rounder, Krishna Gautam can also help them. All right. Ravi Jadeja, if he stays healthy this year. So I think that CSK getting Suresh Raina back and Raidu, they've probably fix their scoring woes. Now it's really about if the bowling's going to hold up until we get Luing and Gidi back. Can it survive losing Josh Hazelwood and being away from the spring-friendly confines of Chennai? But guys, those are my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are. Again, let's have a great IPL season. You guys already know. Give me your playing 11. And until next time, that's 6 runs.